Hello friends, and welcome to Fishcraft. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you so very much. Fishcraft is a survival series that is almost entirely fueled by my passion for both fishing and building inside of Minecraft. More so fishing than building, but I definitely do have a good time doing both. So for the past 10 months, I have been hard at work fishing inside of this one survival world. And as of July, I am currently at 222,000 fish caught, which does sound like a lot, but it really isn't considering I've got almost 2,000 hours into this world. But that does also include the amount of time it takes for me to plan out certain builds in creative mode and stuff. So we'll just say that it's about 1,500 hours for fishing, and then the other 300 or so is spent in the creative world shenanigans. And with the introductions out of the way, I'm very excited to get started on today's video, because I have once again been inspired by a show I've been watching called The Apothecary Diaries, which is what this whole apothecary thing is based on, by the way. Like, we even got our own little meow meow. Oh, I love it so much. Maybe someday they'll add the ability to get ocelots to follow you around like they did back in the day. I think earlier on in Minecraft, you could tame an ocelot and it would just turn into a cat, which I thought was pretty cool. Though the sudden change in fur color was a bit interesting. So I think I do like this way better. I just wish I could have a little ocelot follow me around. That'd be so cute. Ooh, and some ocelot armor too. That'd be so nice. Anyway, in my last couple episodes of Fishcraft, I have been hard at work designing and creating these big ol' additions to the big ol' apothecary here. So we've got the apothecary itself, and we've got the giant gates that are surrounding it, and we've got the protective wall, of course. The only thing that's missing for me though is the vast amount of little residential buildings that I want to have stuffed inside this little tiny catfish courtyard. I just wish I knew exactly how to be able to free flow a whole bunch of smaller buildings all tightly packed around each other. Usually whenever I build something, it's usually just a one and done type of building, like what we've got here is just one giant building kind of just stuck off by itself. Same goes for everything else I've built around here. They all are pretty much their own standalone buildings. So personally, I feel like building a whole bunch of smaller buildings all packed next to each other it's going to be quite the challenge. But I'm definitely excited for it. I really do love doing all these different new types of building styles. I feel like it's going to help me in the long run to hopefully, maybe in like 10 years, be a good builder. So here's my plan to do that. So we've got these red wool bits here, which is what I originally was going to use as a form of a template to kind of rough out certain shapes that I would want for the buildings, and then kind of just go along this entire side here first. And then once we've got this whole side figured out, then we'll move on to this side over here, which I have no idea what to do with. I thought adding maybe a tiny little stream of water would help. It would help give you some good ideas, but it really doesn't, and I really don't like this terraforming. I tried to do it like how I was taught with it being in like waves and stuff, but it certainly doesn't feel right. So I'll probably just re-flatten this all out, and I'll give it another shot. But for today's video, we will be working on filling out this whole section over here. So I feel like the first thing I need to do is go through and map out actually the path that I want to follow around this section. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start by adding a bunch of path blocks around, and we'll figure out where we want to go walk first, and then we'll build our buildings around that. I feel like that's a good starting point. There is one main theme I'm hoping to keep throughout this whole building process here, and it's that I really want these walkways that I'm going to be making here to be very, very thin. So all of these different walkways we're going to be making, they're going to be just maybe like 1 block or maybe 2 blocks in certain places, because if there's anything I've learned from building buildings and stuff, it's that if you're trying to create a cozy atmosphere, it's that the more cluttered it is, the more cozy it feels. So that's what we're going to be going for here. Here's the path here. Then we'll make one more going this direction probably. We'll just have it go all the way across. Of course, we've got all the bees over here. Then we'll wrap it around to connect it to the medical ward that we've got, and maybe we'll have a tinier path over here as well that kind of just goes around all the buildings and stuff, and then connects it to the main entrance or something. I feel like between a couple of the buildings, we could have like a back alley situation, maybe, where we've just got like abandoned little tiny squares of area that are just filled with a bunch of barrels and stuff. Yeah, okay, I got it. All right, so here's what we've come up with so far. So we've got right here, we're going to put a big old building that I don't think I want to be very tall, because I've learned recently from like theme parks and like stuff like that the buildings that are closer to you are smaller, And then the ones that get farther away are slightly bigger so that it gives you like a sense of depth, and it makes it feel more like sprawling or something. I'm not really sure. But that's what I'll try to do here, just a little bit. So we've got the big buildings in the back and then some of the smaller ones in the front. So this one here is going to be relatively short, but it's going to be quite long. And then we'll have another smaller one here with a really tall one sticking out over here, and probably a couple smaller ones in the back over here, with the smaller, regular shaped buildings on the corner with probably a tiny little shed or something to go here. I'll figure it out as I go. But I definitely don't think I want this rounded one to go here. I'm not very good with rounded shapes, so if I can build these rounded ones probably in a spot that I won't be able to look at it so much, that'd be great. So we're gonna put it over here probably, and we will replace this one with whatever else I could think of. Probably just a regular rectangle. I'm gonna have to be boring with this because I have to build so many of them. So we're gonna get started on the ones that are on the front first. So I'm gonna say we're going to quickly get rid of this wool, and then we will put down our very first building right here, which hopefully I hope doesn't look too boring. But these are mostly just residential buildings, and I really just want them to be here so that I've got something to look at and somewhere to explore whenever I'm doing my fishing and stuff and I'm bored. I am having a hard time, however, trying to decide on which plot to work on first. So I think I'll just go with left. We'll just say left is our first choice. So that's one we're gonna stick with first. So let's just do a tiny little spin, and it's all done. Although I will say this has taken a whole lot more resources than I originally thought. I preemptively had already went and collected a bunch of the warped wood and stuff I'd be needing for these different types of buildings and stuff, but I don't know why, but I kept using stuff like candles and potted plants and bamboo and copper rods, just a whole bunch of nonsense. I do feel like it was for good reason though. I have been trying really hard to make this place as apothecary as I possibly can, but given that I don't really have any sort of apothecary experience, that's really difficult for me. So I really just have to go off based really on just what I'm feeling at the moment. So a lot of the time here, all these decorations and stuff that I put down, I really don't know what they're supposed to be. They're mostly just what I just come up with in the moment, and I am very happy with how it came out. I do also need to work on getting this place lit up a bit better, because at nighttime it is absolutely not safe. I've almost died so many times because I've not been paying attention and there's just a sudden creeper behind me. A lot of the time they all like to spawn on the roof and stuff. So I think once we're done with all these buildings and stuff here, we're gonna run through and we're gonna replace some of these dirt blocks with the regular like torch or something with the moss carpet on top. I'll figure something out. That being said, I have probably like 5 more buildings I have to make here, and I am gonna assume that they're all gonna be very basic shaped like this one. So this one is just a regular rectangle, except I did for some reason I've given myself a self-imposed rule, which is that I do not want to use any form of glass, and I want these buildings to feel very open and like air ventilated. I don't know what that's called. Ventilation, good. Ventilation, good. Breathability, yes. So we're not going to be using a single speck of glass. So instead, for my windows, I'll be using this little design right here, where we've got stairs with the little trapdoors making a little entrance. You can't actually get in here. Uh-oh. Okay, well, you can't. This is the only exception. Is it over here? Okay, so it's these spots that you can't actually enter through. So unless you've already got a block in front of it, I guess you can't walk through that. It's okay though. I'll have this place lit up so I won't have to worry about mobs. But these buildings and stuff, they're going to be very breathable. So I'm gonna have all of them completely opened up with a bunch of different areas of windows or stuff like this. See, we've got all the stairs and we've got the ability to just completely see through all these buildings, which isn't great for privacy, but it is great for the agriculture part of the village, which is what this whole place is revolving around. So all these residents of the apothecary here, they all work here, so they've all got a bit of a green thumb. So they all know how to take care of plants and they know how to grow them to a certain degree, I suppose. To be fair, I don't know how to grow them, so I'll just interpret what growing them means just in my own form of decorations and stuff. For example, we've got some corn over here, or could it be rice? Or maybe it could be both. And we've got some cute little roses over here. I thought this was a really good addition. Although the candles are definitely a pain. So I might have to take it a little bit easier when building with the candles. But I've got a few self-imposed rules. And it's that there are going to be no torches and no lanterns. So everything around here is going to be, it's all going to be lit up with either glow lichen or candles. So that's our rules. Only candles and no glass. Are these bees all stuck in here? Maybe I should probably open up these windows and stuff for them. There we go. Sorry, little bees. I guess we'll keep these open then. It seems that despite how breathable our buildings are, they get stuck on the trapdoors anyway. We'll have to figure something out to help work around that. In the meantime, we need to hurry up and see if we can get started on our... So what just happened? Just did a little jump spin. We need to see if we can get started on this next building. And because we already did the left one, I think we are good to move on to the right one. So, as usual, we will do just a tiny little spin, and it's all done again. I'm quite happy with this. This feels a whole lot more lively than I was expecting it to. I think it might have something to do with the bees. I don't know why I don't have more of these around. Also, I messed up with my little spinning transition because right before I built this one, I accidentally put myself like almost directly on top of where the building was. Like I ran over to do the little spin right here, the little whoop, and my landing point was like almost inside this log. So when I did the little spin around, it was kind of, the building was just here, and it didn't look as good. I'll work on them. I do really like those transitions over my regular little time lapses that I used to do inside of Flashback and replay and stuff. I really don't like using Flashback or the replay mods. They feel, I don't know. It just, to me, I feel like it's a bit too high energy for what it is I usually am doing. So I think I'll try to cut back as best I can on the time lapses and kind of show a more progressional type of video kind of thing. I don't know how to explain that really. Less time lapse, more showing me what I'm doing and cool little transitions. The little spin one's definitely my favorite. It is hard to get the frames set up. Whoa, there's a hair on my mouse. It is hard to get the frames just right, but I think I'm doing better. Anyway, here's what we got so far. This is one of the new additions. We've got actually 2 buildings here, and one of my favorite parts is the diversity in the windows, at least for this front one. So we've got this weird looking window right here, fully bee accessible. They can come in and out as they please. We've got extra beehives all over the place because I really love the movement of these bees. I feel like it personally adds so much. It adds so much to these places, and I really love it. And I've completely opened these trapdoors. I don't want the bees getting stuck again. So maybe I need also another rule of no doors. It seems like these bees are really having a hard time with these. I'll have to do some adjusting for the bees. I didn't take them into consideration, and I feel bad, so I'll probably fix that. Anyway, here is our second building. It's based loosely off of a building that I saw inside of a game called Pokemon Legends Arceus. The only thing I did was I added a chimney and I took out a dormer. There was 2 dormers usually on the front of the one that I was inspired from, and I think this one looks way better. I will give you all the little tiny tour very quickly. So all of these buildings I feel like I want to actually have beehives inside of, now that I think about it, because this movement has been very sorely missed. I didn't realize I needed it so much until I had it. So we're going to be putting bees pretty much everywhere. Here we are inside of the very cluttered little alleys. We've got stuff just all around, mostly pots. I love decorating with pots. I love pottery, I love plants, I love pots, so it all mixes together so well. So you walk through the crowded little alleyway, and you've come in here, you've got a couple of water pipes, so you've got some flowing water through these stairs, which I thought was a really cool addition. I probably need to add some more water in here. This seems a bit messed up. We've got all kinds of plants lining the whole place, so we've got our bees all happy and stuff. We've got rice and corn, we've got roses, we've got little stands holding up stuff. We're gonna have a bunch of barrels in the future here, where we're gonna have a bunch of storage and stuff for all our fish and all our plants and such. This big building here also is my least favorite. It's very bland. I tried really hard to give it little tiny decorations like these pillars and stuff, and these side pieces hanging off with these interesting looking windows. I love windows without glass. I don't know why I haven't done that before. What happened here? Looks like I messed this one up a little bit, and let me just put this back. There we go. Much better. Right, so now we have a total of 3 buildings inside the Catfish Courtyard, and I know some of the sides so far are pretty bland, but that's because they're going to be very, very much hidden. Again, I really love this. This is definitely coming out much better than I originally expected it to. This is the view I'm working on, though. The view that you get when you first walk up and approach the Apothecary. You're gonna I hope feel like part of a sense of like a community or something like that, right? You walk in and you see all these different things all tightly wound together. You're like, wow. Look at all these cool people. I don't know. I've got some other buildings I need to make still. So we're going to have 2 more little buildings right here. We're gonna have 1 more big one right here, and then 1 little slightly rounded corner looking one over here. So I think it's probably best if I just hurry up and get this finished pretty much as quickly as possible. I mean, it's all very boring, and these buildings are very basic shapes. So I think I'm just gonna get it all done really quickly. So if we just do our regular little tiny little spin thing, we'll have everything completely finished again. I'm just kidding, we didn't do anything. We're gonna jump straight into a time lapse. Boop. And time-lapse, we managed to get ourselves 3 whole buildings made in just that one little time-lapse. I'll say that's pretty good. So we're going to do the little tiny tour now. So this is... this is so far only half of the Apothecary Courtyard, but for this video, I think that's all the building I can do. I still don't know what purposes I could give for these buildings, or like who the residents might be. I'll have to do some brainstorming, which honestly, I feel like that should have been the first thing I did, right? Build up the story and then build all the buildings and stuff around it. But that's okay. I do enjoy free-flowing buildings. So we've got the front 2 buildings. We've already seen all these. So we'll take a little walk through our big alleys and stuff here. I am quite happy with all these different pipes and stuff we've got that are putting out a bunch of smoke. This building has a lot of different movement to it. So we've got these very lively alleys, which now are very busy with bees, that are filled with all sorts of plants. We've got entrances to all the different buildings around us. We've got a cool little alleyway that has a bunch more water pipes on the top, with some candles and stuff over here, lighting it up so that we... Oh no, I'm so sorry, bee! No! No, don't hurt me, I'm sorry, no! Alright, let's give that another go. So we're just gonna move on straight to the things that are new. We've already seen this alley and stuff. We've got all the pottery, we've got all the hanging stuff, and then over here we've got this brand new little building, which I feel like mostly is just a staple of the sorts. It doesn't really have any defining features other than its roof, I suppose. It's just got this little bit of a curve to it. But other than that, I think that's about the only interesting thing about this building. And then directly to the right, we have a tiny little sunflower patch that we added because the little manian is always being so sweet and leaving all kinds of comments and stuff. So we made him a little sunflower patch. Oh, we even added our own little town logo right here, which is the flow banner pattern. I've even got it right here. I do quite like this little swirl. It reminds me of a snail. And I even put it onto the little pots and stuff. So we got lots of swirls just all over the place over here. The front of the Apothecary has also been updated to match the Apothecary logo. Very cute, very demure. And then we have this beautiful little building right here, which I envisioned as some sort of a little clothing shop or something. I'm not really sure why, but it just gives off little clothing shop vibes. So I think that's what it'll be in the future. Maybe we can add some little banners or something right here. I usually use these mangrove signs as a form of a placeholder for banners, but I really do like this red, so I might keep it. Also, I tried really hard to make this roof a bit more asymmetrical, but I don't think I executed this properly because I tried to raise it slightly over here, and it really didn't turn out so good, but that's okay. I do still really love this place, so I did my best. And then moving directly right of the little clothing shop, we've got the more rounded corner one that I was mentioning earlier. I really do love this alley right here. We got all kinds of carrots, we got bamboo, we got lilac, we got a bunch of pottery, we even got little mangrove propagules, all kinds of greenery and stuff. I love it. It feels very marketplace, but it mostly is probably because of this parasol. Anyway, this is the rounded corner little building I was talking about. I really did struggle quite a bit with this rounded roof. I don't really know how to do organic shapes all that great, but it was especially difficult for me trying to connect up these rounded corner bits to a more central point. But again, I've only just done my best here, so I think given my current skills, I think I've done pretty okay here. Oh wait, hold on a second, I forgot. I put a little coral patch over here to act as a form of a little flower patch. So we've got all kinds of yellow ones and just a little bit of some fire coral, which I had all left over from the flower carts that I made over in the catfish village. It's all really beautiful, and I'm very happy with this little place. It's very apothecary. Oh, I should build with coral more often. I really do love this. Oh, and it goes really good with the warped and stuff underneath of it as well. Kind of good contrasting colors, probably. I don't actually know what that means. Anyway, I do think that is it. I think that's all I've added here so far. We've got the new 5 buildings. I think it is. Oh wait, new 5. What is this, gum? I don't know why that's the first thing that came to my mind was new 5 gum. How it feels to chew 5 gum. Building an apothecary. Insert giant hurricane snowstorm thing. Anyway, that's all the building done, I think. A whole 5 buildings for this one video. I reckon that's a pretty good start. And then hopefully in the next one we'll be able to do whatever else we're gonna be doing over here. I'm thinking maybe inside this spot over here I could turn it into the tiniest little pond. Just enough for me to catch like treasure items and stuff from fishing. And we could do a whole bunch of fishing over here. It's gonna be great. I'm really excited for this apothecary place. It's all coming together. Also, I don't know if you noticed, but I did swap to full usage of warped wood because I cannot be bothered to ever go mine dark prismarine again. That is way too much effort for very little return. And with that, I believe it is time to move on to the next part of the video, which is arguably my favorite. Actually, there's no arguing about it. It's time to go fishing. The only bad part though is I've only got what probably like an hour and a half, maybe even 2 hours is probably stretching it a little bit, but I'll just work with it because it's currently 6:30 a.m. and this video goes up at 10 a.m. so I'll figure something out. Let's do some fishing. Well, this has been probably one of the most disappointing fishing trips I have ever done. I've been fishing since 6:30 and it's now 8 o'clock and I've only caught maybe 500 fish. This is rough. But I unfortunately I did take way too long building all these different buildings and stuff. So we'll just have to call it good. And I started the video at 222,000 fish on the nose, I think. And I caught another 450 or so. So I'll take it. I will probably continue fishing. But I need to upload this video now. So I also do need to start planning on what it is I need to do over on this side of the apothecary. Maybe something to do with the bees and barley. So I'll figure that out as well. That being said, however, I have unfortunately already run out of time for today's video. So I thank you all so very much for watching this episode of Fishcraft. I appreciate every single one of you, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye-bye! Bye-bye!